Who doesn't like a good first drop? For some roller coasters, this is the best part of the ride, while other attractions, it's basically there to provide the amount of inertia needed to complete the circuit. In this video, I'll be providing you a list of my favorite first drops. Oh, and the key word here is first. I'm not talking about any drop on a roller coaster. We all know that Phantom's Revenge has an incredible second drop, but it will not qualify for this list. Also, I will be excluding launched roller coasters with one exception, but we'll talk more on that later. As you might have guessed, there are many great coasters that have an excellent first drop, so this list is kind of loose with what I consider worthy of mentioning or not. I stuck to 10 different coasters, but because there are so many, I created a lengthy honorable mentions. Before I get to the honorables, I just want to remind you to please click on that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I make daily content, so go check it out. Finally, if you haven't already, go check out my Discord, just a great place for coaster enthusiasts to hang out. Without further ado, let's get to the honorable mentions. Number 10, Tennessee Tornado, located at Dollywood. I had a tough one with this one. Technically, the first drop is that somewhat small dip from the lift, but I feel like it's really just there to send you into that turnaround before the real first drop, which is a 128 dive through the side of the mountain. I know I'm changing my rules a little here, but I think it's a worthy exception.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
For those riding in the back row, be prepared for some exciting airtime. You feel like you're going to be ejected out of your seat and smack right into the side of the tunnel. Number 9, Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion and Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom. Not every first drop has to be loaded with airtime to be considered a great moment. Instead of a traditional drop, these two roller coasters replace it with a diving barrel roll. This element will provide some good hang time if you're riding up front, and a nice whip if you're in the back of the train. Another roller coaster that starts things off with an inversion would be Gatekeeper at Cedar Point, or well, basically any wing coaster for that matter. Also, there is Steel Curtain at Kennywood. It made my honorable mention. I still think these barrel rolls are more exciting, but I'm not going to fight you if you disagree and think that maybe Steel Curtain has the better first drop. Number 8, Maverick, located at Cedar Point. Okay, I'm kind of cheating again. I said I wasn't going to include launched roller coasters, but made one exception, and that's for Maverick. The reason why is because even though that first hill is a launch track, it functions more like a traditional lift than a thrilling LSM launch. Once Maverick reaches the top of that 100-foot drop, the ride takes a steep beyond vertical plummet, 95 degrees to be exact. That will surely send you flying out of your seat. This is an intense moment, not only because of that jolt of ejector airtime, but how short the drop is before you start leveling out into some good positive forces. Number 7, Sheikra at Busch Gardens Tampa and Griffin at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Dive coasters get a bad rap in the coaster community, which is a shame. Their signature vertical drop is a great moment. For those up front, you get to hang there for a few seconds looking a couple hundred feet straight down to the ground. Those in the back may not get the same great view, but will be greeted to some excellent airtime as you get yanked down into that vertical position. Everyone will be floating in their seats for a few seconds before reaching the bottom. I included both Sheikra and Griffin because I feel that their first drops are nearly identical. Valraven made the honorable mention because, well, it has the vest restraints, and I really think it inhibits the amount of airtime that you would experience, unlike Sheikra and Griffin, which have the hard over-the-shoulder restraints. Number 6, Orion, located at Kings Island. I know that some of you are sad that I didn't include both Gigas by Intamin, but honestly, I just don't care for their first drops. I might be the minority here, but B&M just does the Giga first drop better. Regardless of where you are seated, riders are treated to some airtime. However, the real thrill is sitting in the back row. The excellent ejector airtime you get being yanked over that hill is incredible. Plus, it feels like you're floating forever as you make your way down the 300-foot drop. Number 5, Steel Vengeance, located at Cedar Point. Out of all the coasters on today's list, the first drop on Steel Vengeance is probably the most overlooked. That's not because it's a bad drop, no, it's just that the rest of the ride is so good, it outshines the first drop. A vertical drop on a hypercoaster is fire. The back row will obviously have the best airtime. I mean, by now it's kind of a recurring thing, but the sudden pop of ejector airtime is nice and somewhat unexpected. With the 6-car trains, I wasn't expecting much drag over the top of the hill, but RMC knows what they are doing, keeping the first drop still on point with the rest of this amazing roller coaster. Number 4, Mako, located at SeaWorld Orlando. Mako is kind of like the stand-in hypercoaster for all B&M hypers. I think it has the best first drop out of all their hypers, but at the same time, very similar when thinking of Diamondback, Apollo's Chariot, and even Intimidator. I know that all 3 of them made the honorables, just note that they could be interchangeable. As I said earlier, this list is rather loose. Anyways, the first drop on Mako is outstanding. It's very similar to the one that you experience on Orion, maybe not as long, but it's a little bit more intense. I think you get a little bit better ejector airtime, especially if riding in the back row. Until I give VelociCoaster a go or Iron Gwazi later this year, Mako will remain the coaster with the best drop in Florida. Number 3, Skyrush, located at Hersheypark. There's only one coaster on today's list that I feel like I'm resting my entire life in the palms of the engineers, and that's Skyrush. It almost feels like this first drop should be illegal, the way it yanks you over that top, sending you literally rushing for the sky. I mean, that's kind of the name, right? One time I actually thought I was going to fly right out of the train. Of course, that didn't happen, but when you reach the bottom of the hill, the G-forces instantly push your restraints tight against your thighs, crushing them. Number 2, Fury 325, located at Carowinds. If you watched my top 25 roller coasters video, you know that Fury 325 is my favorite roller coaster. One of the main reasons is because of its first drop. As I said already, B&M knows what they're doing with these giga coasters. The airtime is incredible, long sustained airtime as you take that 320-foot drop back to Earth. What's nice about Fury is that the front row is still just as enjoyable. Sure, it doesn't have that strong ejector, but the floater airtime the whole way down is still plenty to put a big smile on my face. Number 1, El Toro, located at Six Flags Great Adventure. Even after 16 years, I've yet to find a roller coaster that tops the first drop featured on El Toro. With the long, heavy trains, a steep 76-degree drop that takes you down 176 feet, El Toro turns up the insanity for those in the back row. The airtime starts before you even reach the crest of that hill as you get yanked over to the edge. After many rides, this moment gets me every single time. My opinion of the remaining parts of El Toro might have shifted over the years, but that first drop still rings as the best of all time. Well, that's going to do it for my list of my favorite first drops. Which coaster do you think should have made this list? Let me know all about it in the comments. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for future content by yours truly, Extreme Thrills.